right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our series, Women That Dream. I have a very special guest today. Karlys Samuels is here with us. Carly is a dear friend, and she is a mom of three. And oldest is 7, youngest is 1. So that's the range, 1 to 7. And she's a wife to a police officer. So if anyone has a family in police, you know the demands and also the schedules. So that's another piece of Carly's journey. And I'm very excited for you to hear her story about how she had a dream to create a faith-based boutique, and it is called By Grace Alone. It's here in Pennsburg, Pennsylvania, and we're gonna dive right in. Carly, thank you for joining me. I am just so thrilled for you to be here.
Thank you.
All right, Carly. So I know that sometimes our dreams come to us in so many different ways. So I want to open it up to you for us to tell us, how was this dream of this faith-based boutique for women born?
Yeah. Okay. So I started out doing like Young Living, the multi-level marketing, and I really enjoyed that for a while. And then I kind of got the bug to like do something with fashion and clothing. It's funny because I don't consider myself super fashionable, but that's what I like to do. So I started out online in my basement, and that was going fine, but I just always really wanted a space for like people to come in and like hang out and talk and have that community and that whole thing. So I had prayed about it for a long time. I went through like backtracking a little bit, like, some of my story. I have 3 kids, and with my second, I went through some postpartum depression, just like felt really lost. I had gone to school for social work. I have a master's degree in social work, and it wasn't like I hated my job. I just felt like that wasn't really where I was supposed to be. And I was just kind of feeling lost. Like I'd always wanted to be a mom. And then I was a mom, and I was like, I love it, but I still feel like the thirst to like have a career or like do something else outside of the home. But with my husband's schedule, he works swing shifts all over the place. It was hard to find something that fit that. So I kind of started like creating my own thing. And I just, through that, it was really, I got much stronger in my faith that like there's so many things in our life that we want to control and we can't. And you have to just surrender it a lot of times and leave it to God's plan that, whatever's gonna come will come at the right time. Along the same lines, in social media world, it's very hard to feel like if you don't have a bajillion followers and do $1 million in sales a month, that you're not successful. And I felt very fulfilled in my life as far as like, I have healthy children, I have a good marriage, I have a roof over my head and food in front of me. And so I consider that successful. But as far as career, it's like, you almost have to find other things that define success for you if you truly want to be fulfilled, I feel like, because you can always have more, right? You hit $1 million in sales and then you want 2 million, and like, just keeps going. So anyway, all of that brought me to like wanting to do a business with faith behind it, because that's what led me to this thing. So anyways, I was wanting to get out of my basement, and I started writing a business plan. And my friend worked at a bank, put me in touch with the small business guy, and he's like, I'm going to be honest with you. It was during COVID. He's like, it's literally the hardest time to get a business loan. Like, we're just not approving them, but go ahead and send me over your paperwork. Well, I got lucky because he had approved funding for another very similar business in the area. And so he was like, I know exactly what you're going for, so I'm going to approve this. And I was like, okay, now I need a spot. So in that time, I found out I was pregnant with my 3rd baby, and I was like, now's not the time. Like, I can't do it with a newborn and these kids and everything else. So I literally took my business plan. It makes me cringe right now, and put it in the recycling can in my or in the recycling bin in your computer, like just trashed it. I was happy that I was having a baby, but I was like, all right, now's not the time for business, and kind of like, whatever, that's out of sight, out of mind. So fast forward, my third son was born. We're driving down the road one day and I see a for rent sign in the store window. I'm like, hey, that's a cool place. It's right next to a bridal store. It's right next to a new yoga studio. Like that would be a good place for my boutique. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably so expensive. So I called and they told me what the rent was. And I was like, that's kind of doable. So there's just so many things. Like I could go on and on and on about like, how I had prayed every step of the way. I'm like, I don't think this is the right time. And then God would show up and be like, well, your business loan was approved. And all right, well, I don't have a space, so I'll wait. And then literally just driving down the road, there plopped a space right in front of me. And I was like, my husband's probably going to think I'm crazy when I come to him right now, being like, we should renovate this space and whatever else. And he's like, all right, let's do it. So just every step of the way, like, it was just like, okay, now's the time. And it's hard because you want to say like, now's not the right time. And like, I was talking with a friend who was in the shop yesterday, as far as like, our faith that we share. And she was just like, sometimes not being obedience is disobedient to God. Like, you want to make up excuses. And he's saying, like, girl, you prayed for this. Here it is. Like, go. And it's so scary to us. And one of the things I tell a lot of people that are just like even interested in starting a business, I'm like, you just have to start. Like, to this day, I don't know half of the answers I should know running a business. You figure it out as you go because you'll never know anything. So that's kind of how that went from like a dream in my head to the worst possible timing of opening a store to now having what I consider a successful business.
Yeah. And you know what? There were so many nuggets that I want to highlight that you shared.
Yeah.
One was you said you prayed every step of the way.
Yeah.
And I also love that you said you were really open to receiving too, because you were passing by the store and you saw the rent sign and you could have stopped right there. You could have been, it's probably too expensive, right?
Yeah.
But you called and you made it work. And I know, your journey through the store, the renovations, and you guys all doing it on your own. So it was not just like it was poof, it's perfect and nothing. There was other actions that had to be taken. So there's always action associated. Yes, we pray, we receive, but then we have to make a step. Like we have to step out in faith and be like, yes, I'm going to do this. Another thing you said, redefining success. You said that you were like, it's easy to look at people and think, this is what successful is, and then we can't measure up, but you have to redefine success. One other thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about Carly, that could have been an easy way out, right? I'm homeschooling. I have 3 kids. I have a newborn and I have 2 that I'm homeschooling, right? That could have been, but there's always what I see through faith and through staying really the course. And you talked about God's plan, surrendering to God's plan, is that somehow it works out. Our mind can talk us out of, but somehow it works out. If you present somebody, hey, you're going to homeschool and run a business, your brain's gonna be like, I'm out of here, like
Yeah.
I want to run away. But I love that. I love those. So I think you mentioned some of this, but I was gonna ask what helped you continue stay on course, and was there anything other than prayer that you feel that helped you stay on course?
Yeah. I mean, definitely that helps. My husband has just been so supportive of it. I think he saw me through like that dark time and like, or like a darker time, and like just feeling like he knew that I wanted to do something for myself, like career wise, and putting myself out there. And, was just behind me from day one. Like, I mean, doing the renovations, like taking days off of work to like come in here and lay flooring, coming to get the kids, like just so many things that he's willing to do. If I didn't have his support, it would be so much harder. And the other thing is just my kids, like they're my motivation, and not even so much like monetarily. Like I did like I don't know, like a TikTok or a reel the one day of like saying like, we can't say to our kids, like, go follow your dreams when we're not doing it ourselves. Like you have to, I feel like you have to live an example for your kids of what you want them to be like. And so for me, like money is not the biggest goal for me, but like feeling fulfilled and like also being like I love being their mom, but I also feel like you can also be something to the world, and like I want them to know that like go for it. Like, and there's things that are going to pop up along the way, but you'll figure it out and whatever else. So those
Yeah.
things all help me stay on course. My parents, like my mom called and tried to talk me out of it when she heard I was doing it. She's like, you're nuts. Like Josh's schedule, like you're homeschooling the kids, you have a newborn. And on top of it, like after my third baby, I had postpartum preeclampsia, which is like a rare thing. I was in the hospital for a while. Like it was just, she's like, are you crazy? Basically. So, but now, I call her because my dad had a business growing up and like she did the books for that. So I call them and ask them business advice. And honestly, just like having friends to like bounce ideas off of or whatever. So it's just, you got to surround yourself with good people, and no matter what you do, like it'll work out. But yeah.
I love that. Support is so important. And I love that you have created that and also nurtured those relationships, your marriage and with your parents. I think that's also really, really important as we work towards our dreams. Um, so, as you're working towards your dream, what have you noticed in yourself? What have you maybe discovered that you didn't know was there, or maybe what have you grown into?
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know, like sometimes I look back at this and like not to like, oh, but like sometimes I'm like, wow, like I did this because it's it's just a lot. And I think there are days when it's really hard. And I think that was a very like going back to the renovations, like a very important piece of it. I said from the beginning, like, first of all, I got a small business loan. And so I knew I was like, this is how much money you have. Like, you got to make it work. Um, and so we did all like last summer, we were in here every free minute we got doing the renovations with kids in tow and all of that. And I wanted to do that because I wanted to feel like on the days when it's hard, you can't just pick up and leave because money for one, but like look at all the time like we put into this and all the work and everything. And so it's just, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that like so much work that people don't realize, and that's fine, they don't have to realize that, but when you realize it yourself, I think that feels good to be like, I got this done this week, and it may not look like a lot to somebody else, but like I'm proud of myself,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know, I
I
guess.
think that's important. No, I think that's, let's not minimize the importance of that. I think that is really important as we're working really hard towards something, to have that. I don't even know what it's called, self appreciation, like pat on the back, like,
Right.
because if we were to flip it, right? Like, so I'm as a friend looking at you, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is incredible what she's doing. She's strong, she's courageous, but as ourselves, we're like, no big deal. I'm
Yeah.
doing this. I'm in it. I'm doing this. But as we step back, it's just, I feel like it makes us stronger for sure to give ourselves a pat on the back and be like, oh, wow, Carly, look, you've done this. You've created this, and then helps you move on to something else too, as well. So I also want to share inspiration or anything someone's watching right now, right? They have three kids, they're homeschooling. Maybe they have two and they're going to have a third one. And they're like, you know what? I've also thought of starting something that is, we were talking about before this, it's something that is not, the road has not been paved before. Yes, other people have opened boutiques, but not a faith-based boutique. So that, also you have, as you're bringing things into the store, they're, very with purpose and intention. So a lot goes into that as well.
Mhm.
So as people are thinking like, oh, I also have a unique idea. Nobody has done it. I don't know. There's no like roadmap. What do I do? So what would you say? Like, and I feel like you've said it already, and I know maybe what you're gonna say, but I think it's important to say it again and just give people that freedom and to move forward.
Yeah, I think I tell everybody this that ever approaches me with any idea or anything. I'm like, you just have to start. So go ahead and make the free Instagram, make the free Facebook page, be, taking pictures of whatever you're making or selling or doing, make little videos. Um, do a shameless plug on your like personal story. Say, hey, can you guys follow me? Can you share it? People want to, they want to support you. And I feel like every business or whatever starts out with family and friends or whoever being your followers. And you don't have to be like, all right, I'm going to go full speed and post 100 times a day or whatever, but just start, because even taking pictures of your product, like you're getting practice doing product photography, or just like getting yourself out there, you start to network. So like I've done, like even before I had this, there was like I did a few craft shows, like back when Avery was a baby. I like sewed some headband, like just did like little hobby stuff, but I did like craft shows or whatever. And even those small things, you're networking with people and like really growing, who you can reach out to when you have questions or whatever. But I'm like, honestly, just start. You'll never know the answers. I can't tell you how many things that like I have Googled and just figured out along the way. And I think that's so important. It's hard sometimes because even now I'm 35 and I'm still like, but someone from high school is going to like see this and think it's stupid or like whatever, or be like, oh, she thinks she can like start a boutique. She's not fashionable, whatever. You have to literally let go and not what people think, because the minute you do that, you step into like what you really want to do and really go for it. And that's, I feel like when the success comes is when you're like, I don't care. This is what I do, what I want to do. I'm going to work towards it. But yeah, I'm telling you, just make the free Instagram page, a Shopify, which is how I have my website. It's like $29 a month. Like start that. Like you don't need to have a whole huge thing, but even growing baby steps at a time, you're going to learn so much along the way. And for me, like I get frustrated because I feel like if I really had more time here in my boutique or at home to work on it, I could do so much more, make so much more money. But for my kids, like Katie said, they're between 1 and 7. Like I know that time is fleeting. I only get this time with them. So why I love doing this and feel, so much purpose in doing this, I also want to be present for them. And so I feel like you can, people call it like half-ass, right? But like it does, we can come up with a new better term for it. Like it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Like you can do your business and still be present with your family or gardening or whatever your other hobbies are, and still grow. Because 5 years from now, if you think like I wish I would have started something 5 years ago, so that's my thing. Just
Yeah.
start. That's like I need like a tattoo. Just start.
Just start. And I love it. It's so simple too. Just start. And I loved how you broke down the reservations that could be brought up
Yeah.
right away. And you're like, nope, nope, let's shatter them right now. Just start. One thing I want to ask you. You mentioned, things will pop up, right? Like you're gonna feel insecure about something. What have you along the way learned? Have you learned to realize that and then just either move past it or take it head on? What's your kind of go-to for that?
So that is, I feel like where a big part of my faith comes into, because I've had to let go of like what the world's expectations are for me and say like, I feel like I'm living out my purpose, what one of the things I'm here to do. And people's expectations of me or what I feel like people are looking at me for is not important to me anymore. Like I care what my husband thinks, my kids think, and my friends think, but like most of all, I care what I'm doing for God. I care what he thinks about me, and that I'm just being a good human and living out the purpose that he's given me, the path that he's paved for me with all of this. And so I feel like no matter what your faith is, you have to just like be really, and I'm still not I'm still learning to be, but you have to be super strong and just like, this is my faith, this is what I'm here to do, this is my purpose. And no matter what anybody else thinks of me or whatever else. This is just this is what I'm here to do.
I love it, Carly. That is just this is such a great, not even advice. This is such a great way to strengthen the faith. And I feel like if you have, what advice would you give to somebody that doesn't have a strong relationship, like doesn't have a strong faith? What would
Yeah.
you say? Where do they start?
So that's like what I like, uh, this is gonna sound like cocky maybe, but that's the one thing like I love about my store is like I wanted to make it this way on purpose. People that go to church every week can come in and find stuff that they like, but you don't have to. You don't have to even consider yourself a Christian. You can come in and shop for clothes and get a little sprinkle. Like I always say, when people come in here, I want them to leave just like feeling so good. I want them to leave feeling better than when they came in. And I hope that like no matter how they find that, like they're getting that through my store. So I feel like if you don't have any kind of faith, it's important to maybe like create a community of friends who do. Find a church that you like. Like honestly, I'll tell people I grew up my whole life going to church and I had that really strong foundation. It was an old school Lutheran church. I am forever grateful for it. I really loved it. And then our pastor retired and we like went to another church and it was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but it was again very old school. We're at a church now that like my husband loves to go to, my kids love to go to, I love to go to. It's much more modern. There's a lot of young people. So I feel like you just have to find your place where you feel like so good about going. Like it used to honestly be a chore for us to go to church on Sunday mornings, getting the kids ready and dragging my husband and just feeling like, okay, we went through the motions, we went to church. Now we all can't wait to wake up on Sunday and go there. And it like starts our week so good. So I feel like it's okay to like shop around almost to find like where you feel like you belong and what you feel like is a good fit for you and find your people, because that's going to be so huge. Like if you find something that can start your week off right, if you can find people that you can talk to that are going to encourage you in your business and encourage you in your faith and be honest with you along the way, I think that's a good place to start.
I think that's an awesome place to start. Thank you so much for sharing that. And if you are in the Pennsburg area, if you are in the PA area, what Carly shared with me, what she loves doing is having you at the store. Not just to shop, but to have these awesome conversations. Especially if you are looking for community. I feel like that's another way for you to come in and find a community, find moms, find
Mhm.
women um, that are in business. Carly's right there. She is at the store. So, it's an opportunity for you to leave. What did you say? To leave better, leave happier than they came in.
Yeah, I want them to leave feeling better than when they came in, for sure.
So if you're looking to feel better than you do now, you have to go, you have to make it to Carly's store. One thing that I want to tell you about Carly, she has such a fun sense of humor. She just like makes you laugh because she's just so cool, and she just makes you feel better already. So that's one of the ways to connect with Carly. Another way is through her Instagram. So if you're not local to PA and you're not looking to vacation right now in Pennsburg, then you can follow Carly and her shops online, so you can shop online too. But even through online, you can get a sense of community. And Carly shares so much great information on motherhood, on faith, on family, so that you're gonna feel that community and that value is there for you always. Carly, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all of these incredible nuggets of your story. And I appreciate it. And I know that it's going to bless people who are going to listen to it. And I know people are going to reach out and ask you questions. They're going to be like, no way, you have 3 kids. homeschool and run a store? And you'll say, yeah. And that's going to be an incredible connection. So I'm looking forward to that. Please, we'll put all the links on the way to connect in the comments. And please reach out, make that connection, and grow together. Thank you,
Yeah, I do
Karly.
want to say, I really do hope people reach out. Like I said to my husband the other night, like I wish I could find time to write more like business tips on like how I got started, like even like the boring stuff of like how to get a, federal EIN number and register your business and find a small business loan and all of those things. And honestly, I just feel like I don't have the time for it now, but I'm more than happy if anybody ever has questions like that, where I get business cards or like all like simple questions or in-depth questions. Like I'm more than happy to like help with whatever I can on my free time, because it's been such a blessing for me. And if I can make it easier for somebody else, for a woman to open her business or a mom to open her business or whoever, I am definitely down to help. So reach out.
Thank you,
Probably the easiest
Karly.
way is Instagram.
Yeah, that's such a valuable resource. So please, if you're sitting there thinking, EIN, oh my goodness, what's that?
Yeah.
And I will need that as well. That's one of the that's God's whisper in your ear, being like, okay, you need to reach out to Karly. So
Yes.
please, please make that connection. And even I encourage you, if you're listening to this and you're just like in awe of Karly as I am, please reach out to her and tell her that too, because that is so encouraging. And then, as we support each other and we help each other shine, we're all going to be brighter together. So that matters, so don't overthink that. If you're called to do that, just go for it. And it will be a great way to support Karly as well. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Karly, for being our awesome,
Thank
awesome
you.
guest. And
Thanks for having me.
thank you all. Bye.
Bye.